Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I asked the Prime Minister in this House whether he would finally show some accountability to the Canadians who are losing their jobs, struggling to pay their mortgages, and turning to food banks in record numbers. I asked whether he would do his job and table a budget. And what did we get in response? More recycled talking points, more deflection, and no plan. Mr. Speaker, Canadians deserve better. Oxford Economics has sounded the alarm. Canada is heading into a recession. They project 200,000 more job losses this year alone, with unemployment expected to rise to 7.7%. That's not just a number. It's hundreds of thousands of families facing sleepless nights, wondering how they'll make ends meet. It's young people putting their dreams on hold. It's seniors watching their savings evaporate. And what is the government's response? A record $500 billion in spending, with no clear direction, no measurable outcomes, and no accountability. This is not stimulus, it's drift. It's economic mismanagement. Let's be clear. Full-time workers, people who are doing everything right, are now lining up at food banks. Mortgage defaults are rising. Small businesses are closing their doors, and yet this government continues to spend as if there are no consequences, as if the money is endless, and as if Canadians won't be left to pick up the tab. This is not about dollars and cents only. It's about trust. It's about leadership, and it's about the future of our country. Let me point out that this is the first time in our lifetimes, except in the pandemic, when Parliament was not sitting, that Canadians have not seen the spring budget. Canadians are not asking for miracles. They're asking for a plan, a real plan, one that restores fiscal discipline, supports job creation, and ensures that every dollar spent delivers results. The heart of the question is the need for the government to account for their intentions and be measured by the outcomes, both financially and by delivery. Spending other people's money seems to be quite easy for this government. Accountability, not so much. It's not as if the government members are new to the numbers. This is a legacy government in power for a decade now. They presented a costed programming of their promises during the election, and $60 billion planned deficits seem to be the norm now. That means that Canadians will be, at minimum, $250 billion more in debt before the next election. And that will mean higher debt payments and taxes that could go to services that will be more diverted to international bankers. Nothing to see here, indeed. It marks the end of any illusion Canadians may have had that this Prime Minister will be any different from the last, who spent a decade diluting Canada's democratic norms, spending taxpayer dollars as if there are no consequences, no associated inflation, no reduced productivity, no strain on our trade relations, no recognition from our allies that Canada is becoming less reliable, food costs and housing costs soaring. This is what is known in international finance as managed decline, where citizens' well-being is gradually withdrawn from them, their efforts become someone else's gains. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister must do his job. He must table a budget that reflects the seriousness of this moment. He must show Canadians that he understands the gravity of the situation and that he is willing to act, not just talk. Because if he won't, then Canadians will be left to conclude what many already suspect, that they were sold a bill of goods in the last election, that the Prime Minister has no plan, and that, like his predecessor, he wants to spend taxpayer dollars with no accountability. Canadians deserve to see the plan. When will the Prime Minister deliver?
La secrétaire parlementaire au ministre de l'Emploi.
The Parliamentary Secretary.
I would like to thank the member for Calgary Centre for his interest in employment for Canadians. Labour market change is happening at a dizzying pace. Government, businesses, and workers are navigating new challenges and opportunities. Fortunately, Canada has everything it needs to succeed, including a very deep pool of talent, and our government is committed to protecting and supporting workers in this period of uncertainty and change in our labour market. We have the most highly skilled workforce in the world. They are why Canada will keep its economy strong and vibrant. But a huge wave of retirements is leaving important sectors facing critical labour shortages. On estime à 600,000 le nombre de gens de...
They say there are 6,000 people who will be retiring between now and 2031. And if we add to this, there will be a loss of 400,000 jobs. We can see that we have an unparalleled chance for an entire generation. There is no universal solution, but young people, are an underutilized resource. I think that what we need are audacious measures that will help young people be confident in the future so that they know that they will be able to fulfill their professional ambitions. And we should not forget that young people will face a job market which resembles nothing we've ever known and resembles nothing like the generations in the past had to face. We have to do what is needed to give young people these skills they need to succeed.
Landscape that is very different from past generations because we can't build houses without skilled carpenters, plumbers, electricians, or any of the other red seal trades. We also have to make sure individuals facing additional barriers have access to the supports needed to access education and training. For Canada to be a G7 leader, our workers must have access to training, retraining, and upskilling. And that's why the Government of Canada is supporting a comprehensive array of programming. For example, this year alone, the Government of Canada aims to support over 150,000 opportunities for youth through the Youth Employment and Skills Strategy Program, Canada Summer Jobs, the Canada Service Corps, the Supports for Student Learning Program, and the Student Work Placement Program. And we're making targeted investments under the Canadian Apprenticeship Strategy, targeting the skilled trades workforce's most pressing needs. Nearly $1 billion annually in apprenticeship support goes toward making trades training more affordable through loans, grants and contributions, tax credits, and EI benefits. Afin d'accueillir des reçus comme des...
In order to help young people and newcomers in the job market, we will be working with more than 200,000 groups nationwide and help young people and others to have access to skills training and get a job.
New opportunities transform to a one economy agenda and invest to ensure Canadians have the skills they need to fill in demand jobs.
The honourable member for Calgary Centre.
Well, and so it continues, Mr. Speaker. Even the decline of this House and the parliamentary norms that were once expected by Canadians continue to go down. The member across the way had notice of exactly what my question was for tonight about the budget. The budget. The budget. We've repeated this several times in this House, and that was the question. And she delivered me her own speech based on narratives around Labour and where they're going with it. That is not at all what the question was. But let me address that, because we do need a budget in this House. We need something that actually shows Canadians what they can expect going forward here. And if we don't continue to respect the norms of this House and deliver the democratic minimums that have been expected in Canada for decades now, budgets, so Canadians can see what's going on in this House of Commons. Let me say to my colleagues on the other side of the House, if you're not part of the solution, you continue to be part of the problem. You might think you're a new government, but if you're going to act like the old government, you're going to continue. When are you going to give us a budget?
The honourable parliamentary secretary.
Monsieur le Président, Sa Majesté...
Mr. Speaker, His Majesty Charles III said to Parliament, Canada has what our world needs, and this includes Canadian workers. The future success of Canada is based on the competence of its specialized workforce. That is why the government has invested more than $1 billion, is investing more than $1 billion a year for skills training.
Boundless ambition to create a skilled workforce for the future, and they ensure there will be new jobs and exciting opportunities for Canadian workers. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the member opposite that the Government of Canada will always support Canadian workers and their families. We invest those funds because we believe passionately that skills training is key to unlocking Canada's economic potential and our road to a prosperous future. And Mr. Speaker, I will end by saying there will be a budget in the fall. Thank you.